Okay, Mount Panorama. I really struggled at this track. This is my second go at it. It was on the schedule a season or two ago, and I was terrible at it. Um, my SPO is 4, ARB's 8. That's in the description below the setup. But if you're struggling for time, if you're in the 35s, 36s, maybe even the 34s, try an SPO of 1 and an ARB of 8. The car is much more drivable, it's much more planted and steady, and you can really learn the track. Do a tank or two at that, and you will get a lot of experience and just a lot of knowledge of the track, and then you can switch the SPO higher up and or lower down, I guess, and then start putting in faster times. So the track's 24 degrees, so it's on the cooler side. It's a little faster. This is, I think, lap 8. The session actually timed out. But this is a good representation anyway, because in a race you're never on your last lap anyway of fuel. So here we go. We'll do it in slow motion and then run it at full speed. So coming up to the 50 board, getting on the brakes. Getting on the brakes pretty heavy, down into second gear. You want to brake early and get on the gas early, so you have a really fast exit and maximize the speed. You can brake later, but you will sacrifice speed down the straight. So watch for that. Turning in, just getting off the brake and getting on the gas. Trail braking is real important here, and unfortunately I turned in a little too much, got on this curb. Don't do that. Get the tire up to the edge of the curb. That sacrificed some speed here. I had to get on the power a little later than I would want to. You can see here I'm not on full power. I should have been. It's just a little mistake, but by the end of this straightaway, that's probably two tenths, maybe even a little more. And just run out wide onto the green stuff here. Stay off the grass, of course, and get back on the track before the grass up here. Otherwise, you get a 1X and all that good stuff. So just working up the gears. Up at the peak here, you want to shift into 5th once you're on top of the hill. And so coming up to the 50 board, if you're trying that 1 SPO, you want to brake a little earlier than I'm doing here. But just before the 50 board, getting on the brakes, not too hard, just a quick little bit of brakes, shifting down into 3rd, and then getting back on the gas, again doing some of that trail braking. Getting on the gas. Now if you notice here, this is a real important. A lot of people you'll see crash into this side here, because you can see how cambered this corner is. If you are up top here, you will lose a lot of grip, and if you're heavy on the gas, you will go right into that barrier. So you got to keep it tight against this curb, into the camber of the corner, and you can get on full throttle real early. And again, just carrying a lot of speed into this next bit of straightaway. So full power, and then just run it all the way out to the outside here, opening up the wheel. Pretty straightforward. Now you heard there I shifted up into 4th. If there's no one in front of you, shifting up into 4th will get you a little bit of time, not very much. I probably shouldn't even do it. But shifting down into 3rd, just as you come to the corner, and then getting on the brakes. You don't want to outbrake yourself, otherwise you're going to lose your back end. So, you know, right around this mother sign, This one here on the left, you want to get on the brakes. Into second gear, you don't really want to run out wide so much here, I find. Again, you got to get this car into the camber of the corner. Don't obviously touch this wall. It can suck you in, so you just have to be mindful. Get on that power so your car doesn't dip into it. Getting on the power, I could have got on the power a little earlier here. Again, this one cost me. So just doing a little trail braking, getting on the power, and then little hesitancy on my part. I should have been full power here. And then just unwinding the wheel, running out wide. Again, I didn't use all the track, and you know, it's just a little mistake, but again, that probably cost me by the end of this hill 2/10. So if there's no one behind you that's gonna try and move on the inside, you want to get to the left side here, just so you can keep the wheel as straight as possible through this next section. If there's a guy beside you or right behind you, you're probably gonna have to take a tighter line and close the door a bit so they don't try and run inside. But just trying to minimize the wheel inputs. It will save you, you know, probably a tenth or two, if you can keep the wheel straight versus having to do a lot of again, and just coming to the outside the line here and just straightening the track as much as possible. If you come in this one too narrow, you're going to have to lift or turn and the wheel, and you will scrub some time. And right out to the outside here. Now this is a blind corner and you don't want to turn in too early. So once you're on top of the ridge and you can see the edge up here, then you want to start your turn in. Don't turn in too early, otherwise again you're going to scrub some speed and have to lift. When the tires are cold, you probably are going to have to lift for this one, but when they're hot, you can do this full throttle. You want to get right up against this curb. You don't want to put too much of a tire on it. It could push you a little wide and unsettle your back end a bit. Do not get on this curb on the right. If you do, make sure you're lifting, because it can be big trouble. Put you into that barrier on the left. So coming up here, you want to get to the left, and I'm lifting on the throttle a bit again because it's sort of the middle of the tank. A couple more laps in, there probably wouldn't be a lift here, but you want to make sure the car is steady and stable. Again, this is sort of a blind corner, but get the wheel straight, get your car straight, aim for the edge of the curb here, and I'm braking now, braking down into third gear. You'll see it better when it's in full speed. And then straightening the car again, just get on those curbs a little bit. And now shifting down into second, and again heading into the camber of this corner. It's important you get into the camber, otherwise your car is going to get a lot looser. Back on the power, still in second gear. And again, line yourself up for the camber this next corner. Just a little bit of brake there earlier just to settle the car down, and then getting right back on the power. It's important you have a little power on right now, because that will keep your back end more steady. And then full power, shifting up into third. Again, when there's a little bit less fuel in the car, you can even do that more aggressively. So shifting up into fourth there briefly, and then probably right around here, yeah, right around there, shifting back into third. You want to keep to the right, and you got to be going at a speed where the car is stable, because this is a real tough corner. shifting down into first. So getting on the brakes, you know, right around where the blue sign or the blue signage starts. You gotta get the car slowed down in first gear, and again working your way into this camber, this corner. Again, if you're going too slow, this corner will actually suck you into the wall there. So you gotta have a little bit of power, little throttle on, just to keep that back end going and keeping it from turning around on you and putting you into the wall. So first gear, and it's a quick shift up into second. We're going downhill, so the shifts are going to come real fast, faster than normal, so make sure you're not losing time shifting late. So shifting into second, shifting into third, fourth and fifth, and all the way up the gears. So you want to use a little bit of this outside track here so you can take the next corner with the wheel just straighter, just scrubbing less speed. Again, if there's someone beside you, you know, you may not be able to do this. So coming up to this 100 board, getting on the brakes pretty hard, shifting down into third gear. Again, braking early, braking hard, slowing the car down, and then getting on the power. Trail braking, again, easing off the brakes, getting on the power, and you don't want to really get on this curb, just rub that edge of it. Full power. Now, up here, this is a really tricky corner. If you come in too hot, you're going to get onto this grass. It's a 1X. It's a 1X, but you will carry more speed, you will have a faster lap time. So if you're trying to catch up to somebody or you're trying to lose somebody, you know, a 1X here and there might be worth it. But if you put too much, if you put, you know, half of the car over into that grass, you'll get a slowdown and it's real painful. So don't get too aggressive cutting that corner if you're trying to gain some time. And then just running up through the gears, exiting wide. This curb on the left is a little bit nasty, so you can put a little bit of a tire on it, but you don't want to get into that curb too hard. So coming up to the last corner, I'm going to shift down into second gear. So this tree on the right here, using that sort of as a braking marker, getting on the brakes pretty hard. Same thing, heavy on the brakes and then early on the power, and trail braking. So just releasing the brake, getting on the power. Again, the curbs here are not very friendly. You don't want to get on it. I took a little too much. It cost me getting on the power here. I'm not full power. I should have been. And that just tiny little mistake cost me 2/10 by the time you get to the end of this straight. So the corner before this one, up the hill, this corner, and then the first corner, respect these corners, because you crash on the mountain if you screw it up. But these three corners, if you mess them up, they will cost you a lot of time. So respect these corners, get them right, because easily in one lap you could lose anywhere from half a tenth to even up to a second if you mess them up. It will really slow you down. So, and just run the car out wide here, onto the curb. Don't get on the grass. That grass is nasty. You will easily spin, and you may spin and crash, or you may spin and recover it and just lose a tremendous amount of time. So stay off that grass. And so that's a 2:31.9. and you saw those little mistakes I did, easily 4 or 5 tenths that cost me. So be mindful of those curbs and those corners, because you can lose a lot of time on this track. They don't look like it, but they can cost you a lot. So we'll do it at full speed. Good luck out there. Hopefully see you. Hopefully we don't get into a wreck. Good luck, and we'll see you next time. Hit the like or subscribe.